In order to actually progress on the journey, you need to know your baseline numbers. So I've weighed in at about 80.1. I know you saw 81.5. However, that was because I'm fully wearing clothes. I like to weigh myself, and I think you guys, you should as well. Weigh yourself with minimal clothing so you can get an accurate data set, because every time you wear different clothes, chances are you're going to weigh completely different and it's going to throw you off. So that's the weigh-in side of things done. And then you look at kind of your output as well. So I look at steps. I'm going to make a daily goal of 6,000 to 7,000 steps. And that should be plenty. That's what I normally keep my baseline around. More importantly, I'm kind of after showing you the training program. Now, nutrition-wise, first of all, by the way, this is just the oats I have every morning. I've put the recipe on there before. I can put it out there again. This one particularly kind of sucks, okay? Because the protein powder I bought is gross. More about that in the next video, so do check that out. I'm literally, it's disgusting, but I don't want to waste it, so it's here. Anyway, that's that. Training program-wise, okay, I've kind of stripped things back a little. I'm kind of looking at a belt squat RDL, a dumbbell press, shoulder press, lat pull down, and a belt, basically a row. Keeping it very, very basic, because I spoke about this in my last video, how I don't think I've really actually unlocked my full, unlocked my potential. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying I don't think I've gained my first initial mass that I should have, or I could have done it the basic way. I'm kind of overcomplicating things too early. Oh my God, bloody hell, that was a mouthful for me. This is gonna shock you guys, okay? This is basically, I've gone up weight almost every week. So what I've done is just one rotation. There's no two rotations. One rotation, gone up almost every week on almost every exercise, and I've only done one set per exercise. So currently what we're looking at, if I show you, I'll try to put it on the screen as well. But last week I got 120 kilos on the belt squat for 8 reps, and I've left myself a little note, which is why it's so important to track, saying master the weight, meaning the reps didn't look as good as or as clean as they could have done. I remember like the week before this, it looked horrible. Last week was quite good, and I'm giving myself 3 chances per week to actually improve the form. The reason I'm telling you this is because in a few videos time, we're gonna go back and watch this. We're gonna see this again, we're gonna compare the numbers, see where we're at. And then in that case, what that will give us is one set per muscle group, is one set per exercise actually working for me? And should you try that as well, possibly, if you're in the same position as me, someone that was stuck in 11 years of a complete stall-ish, where you're lifting, you're doing loads of different programs, but you're kind of physically looking the same. Finally, time to add some mass on, and is this method working for me? And also, if not, what we're doing about it. That's what I'm documenting here. But enough talking, I'm gonna get into the food and see you guys in a sec. Right, so having to run an errand. Basically, my wife actually does baking, and she said she wants a cake box, and I thought instead of driving, I'll walk there. That way, before my gym session, I can get most of my steps in, because later on, it's actually my sister's birthday. So I need to navigate the food around there anyway, and on top of that, they will reduce time for my walking to get my steps in. What box is it? So there's a 10-inch one. Cupcake box. Oh, hang on. They're all cake boxes. There's no cupcake boxes now. So pre-workout meal, just a little bit of Weetabix and almond milk, and some blueberries and raspberries. So before we get on with that, the point of having everything in a workout tracker is just, you don't want to go in the gym and sort of passively start training. Every time you go in there, you must have a goal, basically. That's what I'm trying to do. So every session that I do have, make sure there's purpose behind it, intent. That way you get most out of sessions. Like the last thing you want to do is you've been there through a month and you look back at your numbers and none of them make sense. And look at that, just completely basic. I think this will probably be around 200 calories or so, an hour before, and that's going to fuel the session today. So while I have you here, let's speak a bit about something I've been thinking about, body fat, right? I think it's imperative. So for me, you guys, you all know that I've been training for a good while. I started off really, really fat, obviously, lost about 45 kilos in that year, under a year actually, to be fair. And it left me in a position where obviously I was 67 kilos, no ab definition, I could still grab my fat, and my training was okay. I was relatively strong for my weight and everything, which is fantastic. But now, this is where I want to speak about, I will never ever build mass, which is something I've just come to terms with, as long as I keep trying to stay lean as possible. I'm not sure if you're in a similar position, but I've kind of figured out for me, genetically, the position I'm in is when I eat that amount of food. So roughly, to maintain a lean physique or a light physique for me, when I got to 67 kilos, I was on 1,200 calories due to lack of muscle mass underneath. Then obviously over time, trying to bulk and exploding, because obviously 1,200 calories is not a lot of food, and I'm not in a condition where I could sustain that. And then I went into a position where I was then eating about, then obviously over time basically my weight increased. I'm 80 kilos right now, literally on the dot, 80 kilos. I'm having about 2,600 calories now, and then still trying to figure out adherence, because over the years of doing dieting in that way, where I'd eat so little, and then when I'm trying to bulk or gain mass, doing the slow gain or the maingaining sort of thing just wasn't sustainable for me. I just wanted to eat. I mean, I think it's not a willpower thing, because someone that loses 45 kilos in that time and restricts calories for that long, or eats less over time, you know, isn't someone that lacks willpower. I just think it's not viable for the average person. Okay, you can obviously maintain that kind of weight if you have a higher amount of muscle mass, to the point where you may need, let's say, 2,000 calories to maintain a 67 kilo physique. I think that's doable. Like 1,200 calories is not doable for a long-term solution. I know slowly increasing over time, I could have done it at 1,300 or 1,400, 1,500 calories, but I just think, yeah, for me, it was causing me more issues than I'd care to have. So yeah, I mean, the whole point being, long story short, now I'm 80 kilos and I could cut down again, but over the years of doing the dieting the way I've done it, where cut bulk, and not really making much out of it because I'd be scared of putting body fat on. The last 3 days I've just not really eaten much on purpose, because I just couldn't. First of all, like, it just wasn't really something that I was interested in. I didn't want to eat, which is very, very crazy for someone like me that was, you know, restricting calories and putting them up and then falling into a binge sort of cycle. But now it's left me in a position where 2,600 calories are actually quite comfortable, and I'm actually enjoying a lot of food as well, and I don't have to think about it. My system's not kind of chasing itself. When I was training before on those low calories, it was just doesn't feel great, to be honest. I mean, training is hard in general, but when your body's like at a deficit for such a long period, it doesn't feel great at all. So my main goal right now is, obviously part of this documentation, is to not worry about body fat. I need to, or I have done as well, park that to the side and realize that if I put this investment in now, gain a good amount of muscle mass, and work with my system in a way where if I know I'm going to go down to those calories, I can't sustain it anymore at this period of life I'm in, I can't just sit there and accept that and just be small forever, for example. So I need to be able to be comfortable in a bit of a higher body fat, and I think for most naturals this will be the case. For most natural trainees, you're probably going to gain the most when you're a bit fluffier. Not going on a super fat binge. Like, I don't think I'm fat, because physically or visibly I look okay, but when the top comes off, nothing impressive. But that's obviously because the fat's covering it, and I think it needs to be a case where sometimes you say it doesn't matter. Because look, I'm 80 kilos. If I was to cut down to, let's say, 75, it's a 5 to 8 weeks cut. Obviously I'm planning to bulk a bit further, but the more muscle mass you have underneath, the more body fat you can carry and look better. For natural people, for most natural trainees, you have a couple options. You have an option of basically being really lean and then sacrifice the total mass you can earn over the years, or having stages in your training career where you are a bit fluffier and you are basically looking at things like being a bit fluffier than you're usually happy with. Because also at the same time, I think it's important to remember that compared to the average normal person, day-to-day basis, you'll still look miles better. So if there's something that you being insecure about when you're out and about, then it's probably a concern that you probably don't need to have. So yeah, most of the lifts today, to be honest, were kind of matching the reps. I noticed on the belt squat, the reps actually look a lot better. Just wanted to say, not every session you're going to beat the numbers, especially when you've gone past a certain strength level point. And also, reaching the reps doesn't mean it's a call for moving up. I don't know, for years, that's the number, I'm not gonna say number one. That was one of the main reasons why for so many years I just didn't progress. Because I'd get like a 100 kilo squat, for example, and then I'd basically just barely get my rep target. And move up, even if it was like 2.5 or 1.25, that would kind of be a bit too heavy for me to reach the reps, and then I'll drop again. So what you want to do is reach the rep target as you would, and then just stick to it just for a couple more weeks to make sure you fully master it before you go on. And I've personally found that's how I've progressed a lot more. But training's done, hard sessions, numbers matched, reached, whatever. Now all that matters is some good nutrition. I'm just gonna eat this meal now, and hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.